I'm Daisy, 26, and I work as a software developer at a tech company in Seattle. It's not the absurd kind of salary you hear about, but I manage well. Ever since I was a kid, I was always the weird middle sister, you know? I got good grades, built computers for fun, and was the last one picked in gym class. Meanwhile, my older sister, Sophia, 28, was the golden child, star of everything, prom queen, the whole package. My younger brother, John, 23, somehow managed to fly under the radar through it all. Lucky him. I was finally finding my footing in my career after months of hard work. I just landed a senior position and it paid well. It still feels surreal for someone who was making $15 an hour at Techmania 4 years ago. I grew up watching my parents worry about bills, so I've always been extremely careful with my finances. My one-bedroom apartment in a good part of town is nothing fancy, and my car is used. Most of my money goes straight into investments. Sophia, on the other hand, was a different story. She worked as a personal trainer at one of those upscale gyms, making maybe $50,000 a year if she was lucky. Her fiancé, Philip, was supposedly an up-and-coming real estate agent, always talking about giant deals that were about to close. They rented a house in one of Seattle's trendiest neighborhoods, $4,000 a month, which made no sense given their income. One Tuesday night, Sophia called me. She was in tears, barely able to speak. I found out they were 3 months behind on water and electricity bills, had 4 maxed-out credit cards, and their rent check was about to bounce. Philip's big deals had fallen through, and his broker was threatening to pull his license if he didn't close something soon. Being the softie I am, I felt bad, genuinely bad. Maybe it was residual guilt from all the times she defended me when kids picked on me at school, or maybe it was because she said, "I need your help for the first time ever." Or maybe I'm just a sucker. But I offered to help, just until Philip's next deal closes, she said, maybe 2 or 3 months tops. She needed $2,300 to pay the rent and get the utility companies off their backs. It wasn't a small amount, but I had it saved, and family is family, right? I sent them money that night. I even helped her set up a budget spreadsheet that she never opened, and suggested some ways to cut expenses that she completely ignored. My mistake was letting it become a routine. Every month, Sophia would ask for money, with cute emojis or empty compliments. I convinced myself it was temporary, that Philip would close deals, that she'd budget. But none of that happened. Instead, I watched through social media as my money funded their perfect life. While I prepped chicken and rice for the week, they'd post photos of $200 sushi dinners. While I put off buying a new graphics card, Sophia showed off her new hairdryer that cost around $600. Over time, she became more comfortable asking me for things. The requests started coming without context, just the amount and usually some combination of cheesy emojis, like praying hands or best sister in the world star. Once, she had the audacity to mark a request as urgent because they wanted to book a limited-time deal for a weekend trip. What really annoyed me was that I was making sacrifices to help them, real sacrifices. I was saving money for a down payment on a house because rent in Seattle was getting too expensive, but that fund basically became the Sophia and Philip support fund. I cut my retirement contributions from 15% to 6% just to keep my own emergency fund intact. Meanwhile, their Instagram feed looked like a highlight reel from lifestyle influencers. Meanwhile, Sophia was posting about her life. One day they'd be at the opening of an expensive sushi restaurant, always taking weekend trips. Philip would appear in different, new shirts every day, from expensive brands. The same week, they didn't have money to pay the water bill. Curious, isn't it? In January of the following year, Sophia started posting about her fitness journey again. All new outfits, that stupid rowing machine that costs more than my first car, a fridge full of those expensive meal prep services. My best friend Mary had been telling me I was an idiot since day one. She sat down with me and did the math. In 18 months, I had given them over $41,000. $41,000. That's a decent down payment for a house in some cities. That's a new car. It's a lot of money to give to people who are posting weekly manicure updates on Instagram. I made a spreadsheet tracking their social media spending based only on what they publicly posted, and I realized that what they'd posted alone was already more than half of the money I'd sent them. And these are conservative estimates, based only on what they publicly posted. The real numbers were probably much higher. The worst part, every time I tried to talk about budgeting or financial planning, they'd get defensive. Sophia would play the "you don't understand, we have to maintain an image for Philip's career" card, or "just because you're fine living like a college student doesn't mean everyone wants to live that way." Yes, because living within your means isn't the right thing to do when you have the option. Looking back, I realized they never saw my help as temporary. They built their entire lifestyle around having that extra $2,300 a month. They were counting on the rich tech sister to continue subsidizing their perfect Instagram life indefinitely. The next month was my mom's 50th birthday party. Mom wanted a big celebration, so we rented a charming little event space in downtown Seattle. Nothing too fancy, but nice enough for Sophia to complain it wasn't Instagram worthy. That should have been my first clue about how the day would go. I spent the morning helping set up, making sure the buffet was in order, and testing the audiovisual system for the slideshow of old family photos I'd put together. Sophia and Philip arrived an hour late, of course. They pulled up in his rented BMW, another red flag I was ignoring. Who rents a luxury car when they can barely pay rent? Sophia was wearing a designer dress that still had the tags tucked in, and Philip was sporting his latest real estate power look. The party was going well at first. Mom was happy. Dad was doing his usual, operating the grill bit even with the buffet, and my brother John was entertaining our younger cousins with some TikTok dances. Normal family stuff. I was mostly on the sidelines, sipping my beer and trying to avoid Philip's attempts to reel me into his latest investment opportunity. That's when I noticed my Aunt Helena giving me strange looks from across the room. After dinner, I was helping clear some dishes in the kitchen because, apparently, I'm the only one who was raised to help at parties, when Helena cornered me. "Honey," she said, checking over her shoulder to make sure we were alone, "we need to talk about Sophia and Philip." I figured she was going to lecture me about how I was enabling their lifestyle. I'd gotten really good at deflecting those conversations, but what came next hit me like a truck. "I was at Cousin Patricia's baby shower last week," Helena began, her voice low. "Sophia and Philip were there, pretty loose after a few drinks. They were making jokes about you." My stomach tied itself in a strange knot. "What kind of jokes?" I asked. Helena looked physically pained. "They were calling you the rich tech nerd who was too busy with her computers to have a real life. They said you were." She paused, clearly debating whether to continue. "They said you were such a loser that you had to buy their friendship with the monthly payments." I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. But Helena wasn't done. "Sophia was laughing about how bad you are with money, because you spend it all on them instead of living a life, and she told everyone the money was just guilt payments because you make too much doing nothing all day." The soda in my hand suddenly felt very heavy. Through the kitchen doorway, I could hear Sophia's unmistakable laugh. She was probably showing someone her latest Instagram photos. My ears were ringing. "That's not all," Helena continued, her hand on my arm. "Philip was boasting about how they had you wrapped around their finger. He said, as long as Sophia plays the helpless little sister card, she'll keep paying the bills indefinitely." I must have gone pale, because Helena pushed a chair toward me. I sat down heavily, my mind replaying every interaction over the past 18 months, every thank you text, every grateful hug, every "you're the best sister in the world" message. It had all been a sham. "Why are you telling me this?" I managed to ask. Helena's face softened. "Because you're a good girl who works hard for her money. And because I watched them take thousands of selfies tonight in front of the decorations you paid for, mocking how hard you try to make your mother happy. At that exact moment, Sophia burst into the kitchen, already talking nonstop about how Philip needed my help setting up his new crypto wallet. She stopped abruptly when she saw my face. "Is everything okay?" she asked, her voice dripping with that fake concern I now realized I'd been hearing for months. I looked at her, really looked. "Yes," I said, my voice steady. "Everything's fine." But it wasn't fine. Not by a long shot. As I watched Sophia walk back to the party, something inside me shifted. The quiet tech nerd who always helped everyone was tired of being the family ATM. When they left that night, Sophia gave me her usual "love you, sis," and Philip did his fake arm punch. I smiled and waved. They had no idea what was coming. The thing about being a tech nerd is we're methodical. They thought I was easy to fool, so I cooked up a plan. The morning after Mom's party, I woke up early and did what I do best. I created a project plan. I spent the entire Sunday going through 18 months of receipts and bank statements. Every payment, every request, every emergency transfer, all meticulously cataloged. But the real gold mine? Social media. Sophia and Philip weren't just bad with money. They were compulsively public about it. They tagged every restaurant, every store, every luxury experience. They even had location services on for most posts, so I could literally map their spending. I created a timeline combining their social posts with their desperate money requests. It was truly stunning how blatant it was. They'd post about booking a spa weekend, and 3 days later Sophia would text me about a surprise medical bill. They'd show off their new furniture, and Philip would call saying he was behind on rent. The audacity was almost admirable. Then I did something that probably sounds petty, but proved crucial. I started recording screenshots of their Instagram stories. I made a folder with screenshots showing the times they posted about buying luxury items, literally hours after I had sent them money. It turns out they had a system. They usually asked for money on Thursdays or Fridays, right before their weekend plans. They'd wait for the money to hit, and then there'd suddenly be an explosion of posts about their spontaneous adventures. Like clockwork, every time. While I was doing all this detective work, they were still living their best fake life, completely oblivious. Sophia sent her usual transfer request that Monday, $2,300 with the caption "rent due." I didn't reply. Tuesday morning, another request. "Hey sis, did you see my message? Kinda urgent." I ghosted her. By Wednesday afternoon, Sophia was calling. I let it go to voicemail. She left 3 messages, each more panicked. The last one was just, "Daisy, seriously. We need that money." Thursday morning, I got the message I was waiting for. "Are you mad at me or something? Philip says we can probably get an extension on the rent, but we really need your help. Call me." That's when I made my first move. I sent a single screenshot, their Sunday post showing their $300 brunch at a fancy bistro. No caption, no comment. Just the receipt they'd proudly shared with their food blogger friends. Sophia called immediately. I actually smiled when I saw her name pop up on my phone. "Hi, Sophie, sorry, I've been busy," I said, making sure to sound distracted. "What's that screenshot?" she demanded. "Are you like stalking me on Instagram or something?" "Oh, that? Just noticed you guys had a nice brunch right after asking me to cover rent again. Must have been good. $300 is quite a bit, huh?" The silence on the other end was beautiful. I could practically hear her trying to come up with an explanation. "That was different," she stammered finally. "Philip had some clients he needed to impress. It's business expenses." "Right," I said, keeping my voice neutral. Just like the designer loafers were business expenses, and the spa weekend was for networking. Another long pause. "Who's been talking to you?" Her voice had that tone she uses when she's losing control of the situation. "Does it matter? Look, I'm having some cash flow issues right now. I might need to pause payments for a while. Cash flow issues, she actually scoffed. You make like $1 billion writing computer stuff. And there it was. The entitlement that Helena had warned me about. The mask was already slipping. Actually, my salary amount doesn't matter. What matters is that I've been sending you over $27,000 a year. Want to do the quick math? This isn't funny, Daisy. We're counting on that money. We have bills to pay. Funny how you need my money so badly when you just splurged on an expensive hairdryer. Or was that for clients too? She hung up on me. Within an hour, my phone was blowing up. Philip sent a paragraph about how I was tearing the family apart. Sophia shifted into guilt trip mode with a photo of their overdue utility bill, conveniently cropped to hide the date. Even my mom texted me asking if everything was okay, because Sophia was very upset. But I stayed quiet, posted nothing, said nothing. Just watched as they started to realize the gravy train was over. The best revenge plan is like good code. You set it up correctly, and then you let it run itself. And it was about to run. That's when Sophia initiated her bigger plan. She called our mom crying. Our mom is the sweetest person in the world, but she's also enabled Sophia's behavior since we were kids. Mom called me at work, which she never does. I could feel the tension in her voice immediately. Daisy, your sister is hysterical. She says you're refusing to help with their bills. They could lose their house. First, it wasn't their house, it was rented, and they could never afford it. Second, the only thing they were at risk of losing was their luxury lifestyle. But try explaining that to a mom who's hearing her daughter sob about being homeless. Mom, I said, trying to keep my voice even, did Sophia happen to mention that I've been giving them $2,300 every month for the past year and a half? Silence. Then she said, you were helping with their rent sometimes. Sometimes, Mom? I gave them $41,000. That's more than some people make in a year. And want to know what they did with it? Take a look at Sophia's Instagram. I heard her typing. My mom isn't super tech savvy, but she knows how to stalk her kids on social media. I waited as she scrolled through Sophia's feed. The outings, the cafes, the shopping, the weekend trips, all meticulously documented. Oh, she said softly, I didn't realize. But Sophia wasn't done. When Mom didn't immediately fix her problem, she started calling other family members. Aunt Helena already knew the truth, obviously, but others started getting involved. The stories Sophia was concocting got wilder by the day. By the end of the week, half the family thought I was having a mental breakdown. My brother John just kept sending me popcorn emojis and asking if he could watch the next time it all blew up. Then, Philip showed up at my office. I was in the middle of a code review when our receptionist buzzed me. Someone's here insisting on seeing you. Says he's family. I walked into the reception area and found Philip pacing, still in his realtor uniform. Polo shirt, khaki pants, that fake watch he bought. He was trying to look professional, but I could see the desperation in his eyes. We need to talk, he said, trying to keep his voice down. This has gone too far. I looked at him, then at the security guard who was watching us curiously, and back at him. You came to my workplace for this? You're not answering our calls. Sophia's a mess. Our rent is due in 3 days and our electricity is about to be cut off. How strange, I said, pulling out my phone. I opened Instagram and showed him Sophia's post from that morning, a mirror selfie showing off her new designer loungewear. His face flushed. It's not what it looks like. She's trying to maintain an image for her fitness clients. Right. And I guess the $300 sushi dinner you posted last night was for networking too. He actually took a step back. You've been spying on our social media? Spying, Philip? You tag the restaurants, you geotag your locations, you literally post the receipts trying to flex on people. I'm not spying on you, I'm just paying attention. That's when he switched tactics. His voice went low, almost menacing. Look, you don't want to make an enemy out of me. I know people, important people. I couldn't help it, I laughed. Like, really belly laughed. Important people, Philip? I checked your real estate license records. You haven't closed a deal in 8 months. The only important people you know are the bartenders at that expensive whiskey bar you can't afford. The security guard was definitely watching us now. Philip noticed too, because he tried to backpedal. Think about what you're doing to your sister, to your family. I have. I've thought about the equivalent of $41,000. And I'm done. I turned and walked back to the office, leaving him there. As the door closed behind me, I heard him yell, "This isn't over." But it was over. He just didn't know it yet. After Philip's little office visit, things escalated faster than I imagined. Mom decided we needed to have a family meeting to sort things out. Mom scheduled it for Sunday afternoon at their place. Family meetings at my parents' house always followed the same script. Everyone sits in the living room, Mom makes her coffee, and Dad pretends to mediate while actually just wanting to get back to his garage projects. But this time I came prepared. I spent Saturday night putting together what in tech we'd call a presentation, but which was more like a PowerPoint of receipts. I brought my laptop and enough evidence. I arrived early because I needed to set everything up. Mom looked nervous when she saw me hooking my laptop up to their TV, but she just kept wiping down the coffee table, which was already spotless. Dad was in his usual armchair, trying to look interested in his phone, but actually playing on his cell. My brother John arrived next, took one look at my setup and whispered, "This is going to be good," before snagging the best seat in the house. Sophia and Philip arrived late. Sophia had clearly cried her strategic tears. They stopped abruptly when they saw the TV screen showing my desktop background. "What is all this?" Sophia demanded, already sounding defensive. "Just a little presentation," I said, opening my files. "Since we're here to talk about money, I figured some visuals might help." Mom tried to interject. "Daisy, I thought we were just going to talk." "Oh, we're going to talk," I said, clicking to the first slide. Let's start with a timeline. The TV displayed a neatly organized graph showing every payment I made to them over 18 months, aligned with their social media posts from the same periods. Sophia's face paled. Philip started tugging at his collar. "Over the past year and a half, I began using my best explaining code to non-technical manager voice. I have given you $41,000. That's after taxes, by the way. Let's look at how that money was spent." Click. Next slide. A compilation of their Instagram stories showing expensive dinners, shopping sprees, and self-care purchases, each dated to within days of my payments. "Here you are at that new sushi place downtown," I narrated, pointing to a photo. "This was 3 days after you told me you couldn't pay your electricity bill. Nice sake pairing, by the way." "That was a business dinner," Philip stammered. "For clients." Click. "Here's the receipt you posted tagged #date night with heart emojis." Strange way to label a business dinner. Sophia tried to jump in. "You're purposefully making us look bad. These posts aren't telling the whole story." Click. A spreadsheet appeared, meticulous and color-coded. "You're right, they're not. So I made this. Every payment you asked for, every excuse you gave, and where you actually spent the money. See these red highlights? Those are the times you claimed it was for bills or rent, but then posted about buying luxury items. This is ridiculous." Philip stood up, his face red. "You're obsessed. You've been spying on our social media like a... You mean like you check in everywhere on Instagram?" I cut him off, clicking to the next slide. "Or like you tag every store you shop at. Or maybe like you literally post your receipts trying to flex on people. That kind of spying." The room was deathly silent. John was grinning like it was Christmas morning. Mom had her hand over her mouth. Dad had actually put his phone down. "But here's the best part," I continued, clicking to a new slide. "While you were blowing my money on luxury goods, You were also mocking me behind my back, calling me the rich tech nerd who had no life, making jokes about how I was buying your friendship. Remember those conversations, Sophia? The ones at Cousin Patricia's baby shower. Sophia's face went from pale to crimson. Aunt Helena, she whispered. She told you. Yes, she did. Because unlike some people, she actually cares about family beyond what they can buy for her. Philip tried to salvage the situation. Look, we made some jokes, okay? We were stressed about money. Stressed about money? I clicked to the final slide, a montage of their luxury purchases from the last month, after they claimed to be broke. Is that why Sophia bought a new expensive hairdryer last week? Or why you bought those designer loafers? Or why you're still paying for an expensive gym membership? Mom finally found her voice. Sophia, is all this true? All of it. Sophia burst into tears. This time, real tears, not the strategic ones she used to use. You don't understand. We had to maintain a certain image. Philip's real estate career hasn't had a sale in 8 months, I finished for her. Yes, I checked the public records. Want me to show those too? Philip stood up so fast he knocked over his coffee. This is nonsense. You're trying to make us look like criminals. No, I said calmly. I'm showing everyone exactly who you are. You took advantage of my help, mocked me behind my back, and then had the audacity to act like victims when I stopped funding your fake lifestyle. That's when Dad finally spoke, his quiet mechanic's voice that we all knew meant serious business. Philip, sit down. Sophia, stop crying. Daisy, show us everything. For the next hour, I walked them through it all. The payment history, the spending patterns, the social media posts, the lies. By the end, Mom was crying. Dad looked like he'd aged 10 years, and John was slowly clapping in the corner. Sophia and Philip tried to leave halfway through, but Dad made them stay. You wanted a family meeting, he said. We're having one. When I finally closed my laptop, the room was silent except for Sophia's sobs. Then Mom looked at them and said something I never thought I'd hear. I am so disappointed in both of you. That's when I knew everything had changed. It's been 3 months since the family meeting that annihilated my sister's fake lifestyle, and things have drastically changed. Their social media went dark immediately after the meeting. Like, completely silent. The constant stream of outings in cafes, shopping, and inspirational quotes just stopped. Sophia's last post was literally mid-story about an overpriced detox juice, the internet equivalent of a ghost town. But the real changes, those started happening about a week after the meeting. First, Philip's luxury car mysteriously vanished from their driveway. Turns out, when you rent a luxury car and miss 3 payments, the repo guys don't care about your personal brand. He's driving a plain used car now. Their fancy rental house was next. They got evicted, not because I stopped paying, but because the landlord finally got fed up with their excuses. The look on Philip's face when he had to move their luxury furniture into storage was priceless. Speaking of Philip's real estate career, someone left a detailed review of his business practices on his broker's Facebook page. Suddenly, all those big deals he always talked about evaporated. His broker pulled his license last month, citing ethical concerns. Now he's working at his uncle's car dealership. No more luxury real estate expert on his LinkedIn profile. Sophia tried to maintain her personal trainer/influencer persona for about 2 weeks after moving back in with our parents. She'd post those weird, vague motivational quotes about weathering storms and staying authentic, but it's kind of hard to sell a luxury fitness lifestyle when you're filming workout videos in your childhood bedroom. Her gym membership was canceled, and most of her clients jumped ship when they realized her whole image was fake. The family dynamic has been interesting. Mom spent about a week trying to smooth things over before Dad finally sat her down and showed her their credit card statements. Turns out Sophia had taken Mom's card details for some of those emergency purchases. Now she's doing that disappointed silence thing that's somehow worse than anger. She made Sophia get a real job. She's working as a receptionist at a friend of Dad's dentist office. No more flexible entrepreneur schedule. The most satisfying part, all that designer stuff they bought trying to maintain the image, most of it was counterfeit or returns they never sent back. Philip's watch collection was all online street vendor deals. Sophia's designer bags were largely high-quality replicas from some dodgy website. Even their furniture was mostly marketplace finds they tried to pass off as new. The facade wasn't just cracking. It was completely fake from the start. Last week, Sophia tried one last time to make amends. She showed up at my apartment with tears in her eyes and a speech about how she'd learned her lesson. She talked about therapy, personal growth, and understanding the value of money now. I listened to her whole spiel, and then I showed her something I'd been saving. Screenshots of her messages to our cousins from just 2 weeks ago, still talking trash about me and planning how to get back on my good side so the money would start flowing again. She froze when she realized I could still see the family group chat. "Sophia," I said, "I don't need you to pretend to be sorry. I need you to actually change. And until that happens, we're done. As for me, life is pretty good. That house down payment fund, it's growing again. I'm actually taking real vacations now." Turns out not funding someone else's fake lifestyle leaves you with a lot of disposable income. The best part? I ran into Philip at the grocery store last week. He was looking at the clearance items. When he saw me, he literally turned around and walked the other way. I guess those fancy loafers don't fit him anymore. Thanks for listening to Daisy's story. Have you ever gone through a similar situation? Helping a relative? Tell us in the comments, we'd love to hear. If you like this story, please like and share this video so more people feel heard, and subscribe to the channel for more surprising stories.